Hi, I'm Cori Smith, and I give a fuck. It means that we all have to care. We all have a responsibility. If we take the notes and the words from the incredible sisters of the Black Combahee River Collective, if we were to eliminate all the oppressions that affect the most marginalized people, then everyone will be liberated. And so we all have intersections that we take to get to our destination, but all the intersections matter. And I give a fuck because without each other, without this connected care, then everybody gets left behind. If we're not neighbors in this, we don't get to move forward together. And I think that it seeps into the lives of other people, and we don't think that's the case. And so I think that we all have to do this together. If we actually want to see change and move forward, we have to do this together. There's pioneers and there's managers, and I think that what we know from history is that it takes people doing brave and incredibly uncomfortable things for us all to reap the benefits. And I think that BlaqOut stands to be a community pillar always. And their mission is so incredibly helpful to the entire community, whether you identify as queer or not, or somewhere on the spectrum you just don't know. I support BlaqOut because we know time and time again, a lot of the things that negatively impact us as a community at large are access points. And I think that healthcare is one of the largest things that we all need as human beings. And that's the thing that's constantly being challenged. It's the thing that's constantly being harder to access. It's the thing that is constantly being the carrot in the societal structure. And I think that in order to live happy lives, it just means that we need access to the resources. I come from a space of literature and love, and so I'm always going to be on the side of advocacy around literature. Book censorship, the erasure of our existences, I think is significant. And I think that if we're not careful, in the words of Zora Neale Hurston, they'll kill us and say that we enjoyed it. And so I think that what we need to talk about is how we move forward, but also that we can't do that without the right resources and tools. We can't do that without the right information. And we know whoever gets to write the story gets the right history. And so I think that utilizing our voices, knowing what we have, knowing what our rights are, knowing the things, the talents that we have in this community, I think it matters. And so I'm always going to be on the side of advocacy. I'm always going to be on the side of intellectual freedom. And I think that we are the fabric of this world in all the spaces that we take up. And so information is our big thing. I think that's what we can rally around together. I hope that this campaign specifically sits in people's faces and challenges them to think critically and to have some uncomfortable conversations with themselves as well as the people within their own ecosystems. Specifically in Black community spaces, there's not a lot of conversation around what is it to be anything outside of just gay or lesbian. And trans, of course. There's room for a lot of conversation in those gray areas. What does it look like to indulge on both sides of the spectrum and all up and down the spectrum? There's a lot of stereotypical ideas around what that looks like. And to me, sometimes that conversation kind of leads into, it's just a phase, you don't mean it, you came from a space of like a bad relationship and this is kind of a knee-jerk reaction. And I would love to see more people having conversations and existences and experiences around the gray areas on the spectrum. I don't believe it's the job of queer individuals or marginalized bodies to bring people into that. I think it's the charge to tell them that there's an issue and allow for people to make time and space to correct said issues and then contribute to the collective pot.